Imagine a world without highways, without container ships, without the internet. A world where the East and the West were distant planets, completely unaware of each other's existence. Yet, over 2,000 years ago, a network emerged that bridged this impossible gap. It wasn't a single road, but a vast, shifting web of caravan tracks stretching nearly 4,000 miles across some of the most hostile terrain on Earth. We call it the Silk Road. For 15 centuries, it was the central nervous system of the ancient world. It didn't just move goods, it moved people, philosophies, technologies, and religions. It was the dawn of globalization. Today, we will travel this legendary route to discover how the desire for a single luxury fabric ended up shaping the modern world. The story begins in China, during the Han Dynasty, around the 2nd century BCE. China was an advanced civilization, but it was isolated, hemmed in by mountains, deserts, and nomadic enemies to the north. Yet, China possessed a secret the rest of the world desperately wanted: silk. For centuries, the Chinese mastered the cultivation of the silkworm and the complex process of weaving its cocoon into a fabric that was light, strong, and shimmering. It was a state secret, forbidden to leave China on pain of death. When silk finally reached Rome, it caused a sensation. The Romans had no idea how it was made. Some believed it grew on trees. It became a symbol of ultimate luxury and decadence. Roman gold began flowing eastward in massive quantities to pay for it. This insatiable demand created the opportunity of a lifetime for merchants willing to risk everything. The Silk Road was born not out of grand design, but out of the universal human desire for profit and luxury. But the journey ahead was terrifying. To head west from China meant crossing the Taklamakan Desert, whose name roughly translates to the place of no return. It is a landscape of extreme heat, freezing nights, and blinding sandstorms. Beyond the deserts lay the towering, oxygen-starved peaks of the Pamir Mountains. And perhaps worse than the geography were the bandits who preyed on the slow-moving, treasure-laden caravans. Survival depended on a string of oasis cities that bloomed in the wasteland. Cities like Samarkand, Bukhara, and Kashgar became legendary crossroads. These weren't just rest stops. They were cosmopolitan hubs of incredible wealth. Here, in fortified inns called caravanserai, the relay took place. Very few merchants traveled the whole route. A Chinese merchant might sell his silk in Samarkand to a Sogdian trader who would carry it to Persia, where it would be sold to a Syrian, who finally brought it to the Mediterranean. While silk was the famous catalyst, the road carried much more. Eastward flowed Roman glass, grapes, fine wine, and powerful Central Asian horses. Westward went porcelain, spices, jade, and eventually game-changing Chinese inventions like paper and gunpowder. But the most durable goods carried on the Silk Road were ideas. Buddhism traveled from India along the trade routes, taking root in China and transforming East Asia forever. Later, Islam spread rapidly across the central portions of the route, uniting diverse peoples under a common faith and language of commerce. The transmission of paper-making technology from China to the Islamic world and later to Europe revolutionized the spread of knowledge, fueling golden ages of science and literature far from where the technology originated. Yet, this connectivity had a dark side. The same roots that carried silk and philosophy also carried disease. In the 14th century, the bubonic plague, the Black Death, hitchhiked on these trade routes, devastating populations from China to Europe. proving that a connected world shared not only prosperity, but also catastrophe. By the 15th century, the Silk Road began to decline. The Mongol Empire, which had briefly secured the entire route, fractured. More importantly, European explorers found sea routes to Asia, bypassing the dangerous and expensive land journey. The ancient caravan tracks faded back into the desert sands, but the legacy of the Silk Road is immortal. It was the first proof of concept for a global economy. It taught us that isolation is impossible, and that exchange of goods, ideas, and culture is the engine of human progress. Today, our world is just a faster, digital version of that ancient network. We are all, in a sense, still traveling the Silk Road. Thanks for watching,